Let us begin with analysis of prescribed poetry, focusing on non-African poetry. This is a very important topic in literature in English. It appears in your exams every single year. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how to analyze non-African poetry, including the speaker, situation, structure, imagery, figurative language, sound devices, tone, and theme, using a sample analysis of 2 prescribed non-African poems, and how to answer exam questions. Take your notes. Let us go. First, let me give you a framework for analyzing any poem. When you analyze a poem, you should consider several elements. The first element is the speaker. Who is speaking in the poem? Is it the poet or a persona? What is the speaker's attitude? The second element is the situation. What is happening in the poem? Is there an event or a moment being described? The third element is the structure. How many stanzas? What is the rhyme scheme? Is there a regular meter? The fourth element is imagery. What sensory details does the poet use? The fifth element is figurative language. What similes, metaphors, personification, or symbols appear? The sixth element is sound devices. What alliteration, assonance, consonance, or onomatopoeia appears? The seventh element is tone. What is the poet's attitude toward the subject? The eighth element is theme. What is the poem saying about life or human nature? Using this framework will help you analyze any poem systematically. Now let me analyze our first non-African poem. This poem is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Robert Frost was an American poet. He wrote about nature, choices, and the human condition. Here is the poem. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by. And that has made all the difference. Now let me analyze The Road Not Taken. The speaker is a traveller. He is walking through a yellow wood. He comes to a fork in the road. He must choose which path to take. He looks down one path as far as he can see. Then he takes the other path. The paths are similar. Both are worn about the same. Both have leaves that have not been stepped on. The speaker hopes to come back to the first path someday. But he knows that one path leads to another. He doubts he will ever return. In the future, he will tell the story with a sigh. He will say that he took the road less travelled by, and that made all the difference. The poem has a regular structure. It has 4 stanzas. Each stanza has 5 lines. The rhyme scheme is ab-ab. The rhythm is regular. It mimics the steady walk of the traveller. Frost uses imagery. The yellow wood is an image of autumn. The leaves are yellow. The season is changing. The roads are images of choices. A road is a path. A path leads somewhere. The choice of road determines where you go. The undergrowth is an image of the unknown. The speaker cannot see far down the path. It bends into the undergrowth. The leaves are images of untouched paths. No step had trodden them black. The paths are fresh. The sigh is an image of regret or reflection. The speaker will tell the story with a sigh. He is not entirely happy with his choice, or he's reflecting on how one choice changed everything. Frost uses figurative language. The roads are a metaphor for life choices. Every person faces choices. The choice you make leads to different outcomes. The poem is a metaphor for decision-making. The personification of the road wanting wear gives the path a quality. It is grassy and wanted wear. It seemed to invite the traveller. The paradox is that the speaker says he took the road less travelled by, but earlier he said both roads were worn about the same. The speaker is not entirely truthful. He is creating a story to tell later. The sigh is ambiguous. Is it a sigh of regret or a sigh of reflection? Frost leaves it open. The tone of the poem is reflective and slightly wistful. The speaker looks back on his choice. He knows that one choice made all the difference. But he cannot know what would have happened if he had chosen differently. The theme of the poem is the significance of choices. Life is full of choices. Once you choose a path, you cannot go back. The choice you make shapes your life. The poem also suggests that we tell stories about our choices. We may exaggerate. We may say, "We took the harder path," but the truth may be different. Now let me analyze our second non-African poem. This poem is "Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night" by Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas was a Welsh poet. He wrote about death, resistance, and the power of words. Here is the poem. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learn, too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men, near death, who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Now let me analyze. Do not go gentle into that good night. The speaker is a child addressing his dying father. The situation is the approach of death. The father is old and close to death. The speaker urges his father to fight against death. He should not go gently. He should rage against the dying of the light. The poem describes different types of men. Wise men know that death is right, but they still fight because their words had forked no lightning. They did not achieve enough. Good men regret that their deeds might have been brighter. Wild men caught and sang the sun in flight. They lived fully, but they grieved that it was ending. Grave men, near death, see with blinding sight. Even blind eyes could blaze like meteors. The speaker then addresses his father directly. He asks his father to curse or bless him with fierce tears. He prays that his father will not go gentle. He repeats the refrain, rage, rage against the dying of the light. The poem has a very strict structure. It is a villanelle. A villanelle has Disnoff lines. It has 5 tercet and a quatrain. The first line of the first stanza is repeated as the last line of the second and fourth stanzas. The third line of the first stanza is repeated as the last line of the third and fifth stanzas. Both lines are repeated as the final 2 lines of the poem. The rhyme scheme is ABA, 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 ABA. This strict structure creates a feeling of urgency. The repetition is like a chant. It is insistent. It will not let the reader rest. Thomas uses powerful imagery. The good night is an image of death. Death is like a night. It is dark and final. The close of day is an image of the end of life. Life is like a day. Death is sunset. The dying of the light is another image of death. Light is life. Darkness is death. The speaker says rage against the dying of the light. Fight to keep the light alive. The green bay is an image of life and possibility. Frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. The bay is a place of beauty. The deeds are frail, but they could have been beautiful. The sun in flight is an image of a full life. Wild men caught and sang the sun. They lived intensely. The meteors are images of sudden, bright light. Even blind eyes could blaze like meteors. Even the dying can have moments of brilliance. The sad height is the moment of death. The father is on the height. He is about to fall. The fierce tears are the father's emotions. They are fierce because he is fighting. Thomas uses figurative language. The good night is a metaphor for death. The dying of the light is also a metaphor. The green bay is a metaphor for life. The sun in flight is a metaphor for a full, active life. The meteors are a metaphor for moments of brilliance. The poem uses apostrophe. The speaker addresses his father directly. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. The father cannot respond. He is dying. The speaker speaks to him as if he can hear. The repetition of rage is an imperative. The speaker commands his father to fight. The repetition creates urgency. The tone of the poem is urgent, passionate, and defiant. The speaker will not accept death quietly. He demands that his father fight. The theme of the poem is resistance to death. Death is inevitable. But we should not accept it passively. We should fight. We should rage. Even when we know we will lose, we should fight. The poem is also about the relationship between parent and child. The child wants the parent to stay. The child cannot bear to let go. Now let me compare the two non-African poems. The Road Not Taken and Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night are both about choices, but they are very different. The Road Not Taken is about a choice made earlier in life. The speaker looks back. He reflects. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night is about the final choice. The choice to fight or accept death. The Road Not Taken has a calm, reflective tone. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night has an urgent, passionate tone. The Road Not Taken uses the metaphor of a road for life choices. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night uses the metaphor of light and dark for life and death. Both poems use repetition. Frost repeats the image of the roads. Thomas repeats the refrain, rage, rage against the dying of the light. Both poems are widely studied and loved. They speak to universal human experiences. Now let me explain how to answer exam questions on non-African poetry. A common exam question asks you to analyze the theme of The Road Not Taken. Here is a sample answer. The theme of The Road Not Taken is the significance of life choices. The speaker comes to a fork in the road. He must choose which path to take. He chooses one path. He knows he cannot come back. In the future, he will tell the story with a sigh. He will say he took the road less traveled by, and that made all the difference. The poem teaches that every choice leads to different outcomes. Once you choose, you cannot go back. The choice you make shapes your entire life. The poem also suggests that we tell stories about our choices. We may not be entirely truthful, but the choice still matters. Another exam question asks you to analyze the use of repetition in Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. Here is your answer. Dylan Thomas uses repetition to create urgency and emphasis. The refrain, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, is repeated at the end of the first, second, fourth, and sixth stanzas. The refrain, Rage, rage against the dying of the light, is repeated at the end of the third, fifth, and sixth stanzas. The repetition is like a chant. It will not let the reader rest. It insists that death must be fought. The repetition of rage twice in a row adds to the urgency. The speaker is not calm. He is passionate. The repetition also creates a musical quality. The poem can be read aloud with power. The repetition reinforces the theme of resistance. Another exam question asks you to compare the use of metaphor in both poems. Here is your answer. Both poems use metaphor to explore serious themes. In The Road Not Taken, Frost uses the road as a metaphor for life choices. The two roads represent two possible paths in life. Choosing one means not taking the other. In Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, Thomas uses light and dark as metaphors for life and death. The light represents life. The dark represents death. The dying of the light means the approach of death. The speaker urges his father to rage against the dying of the light, to fight for life. Both metaphors are powerful and effective. They make abstract ideas concrete and vivid. Here is what you need to take away. Non-African poetry explores universal themes of choice, death, resistance, and reflection. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost is about the significance of life choices. The speaker chooses one path. He cannot go back. The choice makes all the difference. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas is about resistance to death. The speaker urges his dying father to fight. He should rage against the dying of the light. Both poems use imagery, figurative language, repetition, and distinct tones. Analyzing non-African poetry requires attention to the speaker, situation, structure, imagery, figurative language, sound devices, tone, and theme. Practice these concepts. When you have them down, move to topic 5.